Browns. Guys, the Cleveland Browns is a team that is, it's chaotic. Because as we break down their win-loss predictions, guys, this is the most chaotic team in the NFL. It is the Cleveland Browns. And two months ago, back in May and June, I had them as a 7-win team. But a lot has changed for them and not for the better. Now, let me be crystal clear right off the top. I never thought Deshaun Watson was going to be the leader of the quarterback in 2025. Not with his injury history, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I did think that Nick Chubb was going to come back to Cleveland. I did think that Myles Garrett was going to stay in Cleveland. I did think that the Cleveland Browns had a really good defense. But ever since then, I'm starting to question a lot of things. Now, I do think Kenny Pickett will be QB1 for the Cleveland Browns come week 1. And they're going to win, and Kenny Pickett will win this 4-man wild battle over Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel. I do think he will be the QB1. Pickett had the most to gain, and this was supposed to be his shot at redemption after flaming out in Pittsburgh. But here we are. A shaky quarterback room. The wide receiver group is well below average, and their two most expensive extensions handed out to Myles Garrett and Jerry Jeudy, the one who asked for a trade, the other one has not produced much of anything. So guys, let's not sugarcoat this. This ceiling for the Cleveland Browns is 7 wins. If everything goes perfectly, if Kenny Pickett plays out of his mind, if the defense is locked down, 7 wins. But the floor, it could get ugly, and it could be a long, long season. 2 wins. But guys, let's walk through the schedule and see what I think the Cleveland Browns will end up in 2025. Now, weeks 1 through 4, guys, no mercy. They have no mercy out of the gate, and they get steamrolled early, and they get steamrolled often. Because week number 1, they're at home, take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Burrow's Bengals walk into Cleveland and flat out dominate. There's no question about it. They come in there, and they dominate. A loss. Week number 2, they travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Lamar makes it look easy. The Browns defense is gassed early, and they get rolled. Yet another loss. Week number 3, they're back at home. Take on the NFC North Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love takes another step forward, and the Browns just can't keep up. Jordan Love looking like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL playing the Cleveland Browns. Great defense, air quotes there. Yet another loss. And then week number 4, they travel to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. Campbell's Lions are simply more physical, more talented, and a lot better coached. No contest. Starting the season off 0-4. 0-4 through the first 4 weeks, guys. The Browns are already in a free fall. Quarterback instability is already showing. The offense is stalling, and there's no identity forming on either side of the ball. Maybe insert Joe Flacco at this point. Maybe insert Shedeur Sanders at this point. Maybe insert Dylan Gabriel. Anybody but Kenny Pickett, because I think in week 5, when they do play the Minnesota Vikings in the United Kingdom, neutral fields, guys, it does give the Cleveland Browns a little bit of an edge. Because if you flash back a couple years ago, right, the Minnesota Vikings were a flailing team. They were 500 at best. They go over to Germany or Spain or wherever they played. They come back and they rolled. Actually, it was the Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry. The Buffalo Bills were a 500 team. They go to overseas early in the season. They come back and they get things right and they start to roll. The Cleveland Browns may not do that, but they do get the win over the Minnesota Vikings. The defense steps up because, let's just be honest, the offense doesn't show up overseas game, but the defense always does well. Cleveland Browns win week 5 versus the Minnesota Vikings. And then week number 6, no bye week for you. You go to Pittsburgh and you play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers in the black and gold, forget about it. Cleveland Browns lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, hungover, like jet lagged, etc., whatever you want to call it. Week number 7, they are back at home, take on the Miami Dolphins. Finally a home game where everything starts to click. The defense shows up. Whoever the quarterback is does well, and the Browns sneak one out. Give me the win. But then week number 8, long live the glory, because it doesn't happen when they travel to New England to take on the Patriots. The Patriots out game plan the Browns, and another flat performance by the Cleveland Browns. So guys, through the first 8 weeks, guys, they are 2-6. 2 wins to keep hope alive, but that's just fool's gold, guys. The offense is inconsistent, and nobody in the quarterback room is taking command. Kenny Pickett had the edge, but he's not separating himself either. Insert probably a rookie quarterback at this time, because week number 9 is time to recruit, and it is time to enjoy the bye week and insert new quarterback. Because come week 10, it does not get any easier, because they travel to New York to take on the Jets. The Jets even smothers the offense, and the Browns can't get anything going. Give me yet another loss. Then week number 11, they play division foe, Baltimore Ravens at home, and the Ravens complete the sweep. I don't care if it's Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, or Deshaun Watson. It doesn't matter. This is a loss. The Baltimore Ravens are just much too good. And then week number 12, they potentially could get a win because they traveled to Vegas to take on the Raiders. A terrible Raiders team, but traveling west, they get punched in the mouth, and the Raiders win easy. You heard it here first. The Raiders win easy. That tasted weird coming out of my mouth. But then week 13, they're back at home, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. This is yet another complete mismatch, and the San Fran puts on a clinic. Brock Purdy looks like a top 5 quarterback versus a great Browns defense, and it is just a bloodbath. So, guys, through week 13, they're 2-10. Any playoff hopes are dead. Questions about coaching, quarterback development, and overall direction are louder than ever, a.k.a. fire Kevin Stefanski right now. Get Joe Flacco out of town. Get Kenny Pickett out of town. Do something, because there is no fight left in this team. And week 14, they do show a little bit of fight, a little bit of goo-rah for the intern head coach as they play the Tennessee Titans at home. This is one of the few winnable games left, and the Browns grind one out. They do beat the Tennessee Titans come week 14, but they're playing in the wrong hands because they're playing with the first overall pick, and now they just lost that first overall pick. But week 15, they do travel to Chicago, and the Bears front is no joke. The Browns fold in the cold, and they lose to the Chicago Bears. Week 16, Buffalo Bills. At least they're at home. The Buffalo Bills steamrolled Cleveland in every phase. This game was over by halftime. Week 17, they are taking on division rivalry at home, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Browns stealing for pride. Give me the dub. Then week 18, they're at Cincinnati. No miracle ending here. The Bengals dominant, and yet another loss. So, guys, I do have the Cleveland Browns finishing the 2025 season at 4-13. Kenny Pickett may have won the job by week 1, but no one really won. The wide receiver room is unproven. The defense outside of Myles Garrett couldn't carry this team week to week. And if you're Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski, you better be preparing for a full rebuild or find a new job, and fast. So, guys, let me ask you guys down in the comments below. Should the Browns stick it with Kenny Pickett or give him another year after this 4-13 disaster? Or is it time to hit the reset position again at quarterback position in Cleveland? So, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Remember, this is a live interactive show. We're live Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com. So let's get into your discussion and see your comments down below. James Frank says he is just mad because he gave Sutton all that money and let the great Jerry Jeudy go. And Jerry Jeudy just got paid in Cleveland. What was it, like a $60-70 million deal? Not too bad. And James Frank says, my heart is still broken because Nick Chubb is gone. Nick Chubb is now in Houston, and with Joe Mixon out, guys, hey, Nick Chubb could be the starter. James Frank says, Jerry Jeudy just had his best season since being in the NFL, was 6th in most receiving yards. It also helps when it was the Browns versus the Broncos. He had like 500 yards in that game, right? That definitely helps if I remember correctly. Alpha Rob says they'll be 5-12. They'll be a top 10 pick. Do you think they'll take a quarterback? That is tough. But yeah, they do take a quarterback. They are probably taken for Arch Manning at this point, right? James Frank says, with Kenny Pickett being injured, I think that makes it easier for him to be cut. I think it'll be Joe and the 2 rookies battling for the backup position. Shador will be starting by week 6, though. James, stay tuned for Factor Crap because we're going to be talking about Kenny Pickett. Derek asks, who is their running back? It is Jermone Ford, I believe his name is now. He is the back that took most of the snaps last season when Nick Chubb didn't come back till week 12 or whatever it was. So Ford is a good running. They still have a pretty decent running back room. Do not get that twisted. But losing Nick or letting Nick Chubb walk away was kind of shocking to me, honestly. Chuck said